Well, we've talked a little bit about your relationship with your clerks, but what would be like a typical day or a typical week with your clerk or in your chambers? And let's start with Judge Martins.
And a typical day would be to accompany the judge into the courtroom, to assist the judge with writing orders or drafting a more detailed memorandum style order rather than just a one-pager, help the judge with special projects. Judges are involved in all different kinds of things. They give talks, they get invited to places to give talks, and a little secret is our clerks help us with those. So those would be the sort of the typical things that for us a clerk would assist with. I write law review articles, so my clerks help me with what I've learned is called the spade work on law reviews.
You want to be a clerk in a state trial court, especially if it's a state trial court that doesn't have specialty courts. Now, I know the big boys, Chicago, New York, they have a court for everything. New York's got 5 different family type courts, matrimony, whatever. They got a criminal court, they got a civil court. But in a state like Maryland, and a lot of those states out there, your general trial court jurisdiction, circuit court, superior court, whatever, you see it all. They're doing family, they're doing juvenile, they're doing criminal, they're doing civil. And your typical day may depend on the judge you're with. If you're with a judge that in the rotation is every year, or every couple years, every 6 months, then every year you're going to see the same kinds of cases if your judge is in criminal. If you're rotating every 6 months, then you're going to switch off between criminal and civil. If you're in a jurisdiction, I think like Judge Clerk, she gets civil one day, maybe criminal 2 days later. So it's mixed up. In my court, I'll tell you what it was before I was the administrative judge. My clerks knew I was in a rotation for a year. They knew the rotation when they started. If it was civil, that's what we were doing all year, except of course for those dreaded collateral days with, probations that have been violated, post-convictions. Everybody does those. And it's a routine. If you're in civil, there could be a lot of work. If you're chambers judge, those 25 cases that his one law clerk might have a year, they would have that week. Because chambers is motions, hearings 3 days a week, and you got 2 days to read and get ready for the next day. It can be fast-paced if you got civil fast track. If you're criminal, that's where you get to really watch lawyers, because the judge is going on the bench and the jury's going to be selecting. You're going to get to sit and watch, because the judge is sort of like just up there, and they're not doing a lot of work in chambers. So that's your time to observe. So that's what I mean. You get that spectrum of it. So if you're with a judge like that, criminal, you're going on the bench every day. You're getting him what he needs. You may do some research so he can see whether the lawyers are really telling him the truth, and you're advising him. If you work for a judge like me, that is the presiding judge, the chief judge, whatever, your time may change somewhat, and you're going to be probably drawn into more administrative matters sometimes. There are certain motions that only I can sign, which means my law clerk has to research them and tell me whether or not this stack is yes, this stack is no, and sometimes date. So there's a little difference if you get a little of the best of the both. You're going to trial sometimes, you're seeing good lawyers, but you're also writing, you're also doing some administrative work if you work for an administrative judge. But the bottom line is you get diversity. You'll see everything, and you get an opportunity to see how the justice system works, because it's all there in that court. And I tell you, it will also help you hone your people skills, because people come to the trial courts in desperate need of help, but also sometimes very angry and very disgruntled, and you learn how to talk with them, you're really solving problems. And especially if you get in what one of my judges call, if your judge is doing the Lord's work, which is family court, you will really be serving your community. You're going to see people in some really bad shape in that court, and but it's exciting, it's intriguing, and you will use your brain. Even though you're not an appellate clerk, you will have to use your brain. You still need good writing skills, and more importantly, though, I think more than the appellate clerks, you really need good people skills, good communication skills.
So if you can multitask, if you're a people person, if you just like a good challenge, that's the position for you.